Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
The songs in the Jungle Book by the Sherman Brothers and Bare Necessity, of course, by Terry Gilkyson. They're some of the best, most memorable songs. It's one of the great soundtracks of Disney animation. And the beauty of it is that the songs work their way in and out of the story so seamlessly. They don't really start like, Broadway songs tend to, and they don't really finish the way you expect a big, applause button kind of song to finish.
Yeah. Well, man, what a beat.
I feel like that's a particular kind of art that's not always observed. There's a tendency to make songs first and then throw some lyrics that address the story, but not so much a thought to what kind of a song is this and what is the psychology of the song.
Bob and I both felt very strongly the story is the most important thing in any project. Not the song as a song, but the song as development. And because we thought that way, we thought really in the way Walt felt about things too.
Walt had a great deal of respect for the Sherman Brothers. He did bring them in to story meetings on occasion because he wanted them to really get into the picture.
He said, I hate singing heads, two people singing at each other. He hated that. What he wanted to have is something happening at all times.
The idea was not to stop the story, but to progress the story. Look for the spots in the action where they come naturally.
1, 2, 3, 4, keep it up. 2, 3, 4.
I think the Sherman Brothers had a special relationship with Walt. I mean, Walt often referred to them as his sons, and even on days when he might be a little down in the dumps, he would often go see the Sherman Brothers and have them play and sing a song to lift his spirits.
And the songs were written by Terry Gilkyson, and they were much darker, more sinister, more heavy than Disney really wanted to see. So who did he turn to? Well, he turned to the Sherman Brothers. He turned to his boys.
One day Walt said, I'd like you to come in and create some music to tell the story in a lighter way.
Walt didn't think it was much fun, and so he had us write Disney-type, humorous things.
And so basically, the original version was discarded.
Terry Gilkyson, I do know that Walt wanted all of his songs cut from the film. Well, there was one song that everybody just loved and said, oh man, Walt, you can't cut that song. This is a great song. And so they begged and they pleaded with Disney to leave one song in the film, and that was The Bare Necessities, which is the only Gilkyson song that remains in the score.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.
Because then the Sherman Brothers came in and did the rest. They were wonderful collaborators. They sprang personalities out of our music. They did Colonel Hathey's March.
Here's a military guard.
Up, 2, 3, 4, keep it up, 2, 3, 4. That's right out of my military experience and my brother's, because Bob was in the service and so was I. It was J. Pat O'Malley was Colonel Hathey. Oh yes, I remember the days.
I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times.
Pop, look out!
We have this wonderful little bit of business where Kaa is trying to hypnotize Mowgli.
Let me look at you.
When we first showed him the sequence at one of our earlier meetings, Walt liked it, but he said, I think we could use a song here. The Sherman Brothers were able to jump in, turn around a new song for us in a week's time.
Bob and I had written a lot of songs for Mary Poppins. We'd written a mysterious melody for a place called the Land of Sand, and it went like this. Here in the land of sand, nothing is what it seems. If that melody sounds familiar, it was not used in Mary Poppins. One day we said, let's write a mysterious tune for Kaa the Snake. So we said, let's use that tune. and we wrote, "Trust in me."
Just in me. Shut your eyes.
The animators, I think, grabbed on to the easygoing, sleepy quality of that song. It's inventive and playful and fun to watch, but you know, it's also got this sinister aspect that's just great.
Toward the climax of the film, Mowgli has this encounter with vultures who, if you notice, they happen to sound a lot like a popular singing group of the time.
Blimey, he's got legs like a stork, he has.
You know, they all have Liverpool accents, you know, and the whole idea was that they were going to eventually break into a song to cheer the kid up. The song entitled "We're Your Friends" was going to be sung to a rock beat.
When you're dawning, who winds around to pluck you up when you are down?
Halfway through the animation, word came down from High that Walt had cold feet on the idea, and he said that it's going to date it. So we had to go back and redo the song. So what they did, they changed it to a barbershop quartet.
We're your friends. We're your friends to the bitter end.
And it was just an inside joke with us, but everybody seemed to dig it. And it was a fun thing. It was a barbershop quartet, but done as if the Beatles had sung it.
And when you're lost, in dire need, who's at your side at lightning speed?
We did 5 songs for Jungle Book, but my favorite, it's got to be I Want to Be Like You. I just love that.
We figured that Louis Prima would be the ideal character. And so we went to Las Vegas, played the song for Louis and the boys. They loved it.
So we had Louis Prima, Sam Butera and the Witnesses, and then Phil Harris comes in and he does his business. It was just special.
Well, I recall the day Prima and his band came to the Disney studio to record that wonderful King Louis song, "I Want to Be Like You." We had our own recording stages. And so Prima's band was there, and it was just a little too wild and crazy for Disney. But boy, we heard those tracks, and they just knocked us out. Prima recorded the stuff by himself because Phil Harris wasn't able to make that session.
Sam Butera did the voice of that Baloo was going to do, and Louis Prima had the spot where he goes Scooby-Dooby-Doo. You know, he did that little spot there where he goes Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and then Sam Butera would say Scooby-Dooby-Doo, a-dee-ba-da-ba-da, a-dee-ba-da-ba-da, a-do-ba-do-ba-do. It was just aping back and forth. And when Phil Harris heard this temporary recording, he said, "I don't sing like that. That's none of my words. I don't that kind of." So he was getting excited. He said, "Well, just let me hear Louis, and I'll do my answers." So you heard Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Arif,
Another.
Ebba-dabba-doy.
Willa-la-ba-zini.
Waddle-a-but-woodle-a-but.
Stibla-a-dode.
It was amazing. And that spontaneity came off onto the soundtrack, came off onto the screen, and it was just an amazing sequence.
But that crazy and wild sequence was more Vegas than Burbank, and it got toned way down by our composer George Bruns, who scored the film.
George Bruns was a wonderful musician. He did many films at Disney, and he wrote Davy Crockett, the song, Davy Crockett. And he was a terrific guy. He took our songs and made them work for the film so beautifully and interpreted them. It's not just writing a song, it's making the song work in background music and everything. And he did a fabulous job with it.
I think George Bruns is kind of underrated. I think that there's a lot of really charming music in Jungle Book, and I think even the opening music sets the tone in a nice way.
When we wrote the song for the little girl to sing at the end of the film, it was woven in throughout the picture, so that by the time you hear it, it's like a reprise almost. But the tune was the main theme of the show. And that theme actually George wove throughout the film. So you always had the feeling this is where it's going to be heading. So by the time you hear the song, you sort of feel completed. You see, anybody can sit down and just plunk out a tune and write some verses and rhyme Moon and June and have a song. I mean, that's that. But to write a song that works for a film, it has to be of the film.
Till I'm grown